Welcome to the World History 1 lecture series. At the end of each slide there will be a 10-second delay. Use this time to pause the presentation and complete your notes. When you are done, push play and you will move forward. This lecture will begin in 5 seconds. Welcome to World History 1 Lecture 2.7 on the effects of Persian civilization. Well, we've learned a lot about civilization up to this point. We know that civilizations have characteristics and effects, and we looked at 4 major ancient era civilizations to study these characteristics and effects. But the question is, do these civilizations have anything in common? Well, for one thing, they're all located in the Fertile Crescent, so they are close together. But is there anything else? Let's see. Mesopotamian civilizations start in 2900 BCE and they end around 331 BCE. Egyptian civilization starts in 2700 BCE and it ends around 1080 BCE. The Hebrews, they're around from 1800 BCE to about 73 CE, and the Phoenicians are around from 1500 BCE to 300 BCE. So yeah, they have something in common. All 4 civilizations are in existence from 1800 BCE to 1000 BCE. This means they knew each other, they traded with each other, they fought each other, and some of them even conquered the others. Now we're going to look at who else is out there, because the Fertile Crescent isn't as small as we think it is. And some of these people who we haven't talked about yet are going to conquer all of the civilizations we've studied. With that said, go to the next slide. When you think about the effects of empire on civilization, this guy and this guy should come to mind, because the empire in the Star Wars movies is your classic, prototypical empire. The emperor is in charge of everything, and guys like Darth Vader are going to make sure that the things the emperor wants happens. But that is where the similarities end. An empire is a region or group of regions that are controlled by one ruler or government. So, empires do not have to be evil. Sorry, Darth. Today we're going to learn about the world's first major empire. Those are the Persians. But the Persians didn't just become an empire overnight. We need to go back to the beginning to understand how empires develop. So let's start with the first empire, the Akkadians. The Akkadians are the first to conquer all of the Mesopotamian city-states, including the ones you learned, Babylon and Ur. And Sargon, the leader of the Akkadians, is the first emperor in history. So Sargon is the first emperor, the Akkadians are the first empire. But here's the thing about empires. They can be taken over. And Babylonia is going to take over the Akkadians. Babylonia is the next empire in Mesopotamia. Their emperor is Hammurabi the Prince. He's the first emperor to impose a uniform law throughout a large region. We call that the Code of Hammurabi. Now, as Babylonia is taking over Mesopotamia, we have a new group that's in Anatolia, and you're going to learn about this place. It's also known as Asia Minor. The group is called the Hittites. They are the first to smelt iron, or they are the first to use iron to their advantage. So the Hittites represent the dawn of the Iron Age. Go to the next slide. Okay, so far this is straightforward. You had the Akkadians who took over Mesopotamia, and then you had the Babylonians who took over the Akkadians. And then in another part of the Middle East, in Anatolia, the Hittites are around. Well, now things are about to get interesting, because here come the Assyrians. The Assyrians are warriors, and their capital was Nineveh, which is a cultured city. They even have a library. Ashurbanipal is their ruler. And the Assyrians are the first to use military power to take over the entire Fertile Crescent. They are strong enough to combine Mesopotamia and Asia Minor to take over the Babylonians and the Hittites and make one large empire. But they're not strong enough to last, because we're going to get another empire called Neo-Babylonia. Neo-Babylonia is the height of Mesopotamian civilization. And this guy, Nebuchadnezzar, is going to build the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, and he's the one who's going to bring the Hebrews into the Babylonian captivity. Now we are pretty much at the height of empires in the Fertile Crescent. Go to the next slide. The first major world empire, the first peoples to take over an entire region, are the Persians. The Persians are from Iran eastward to India. So you would think of this as modern day Iran and modern day Pakistan. They are nomadic herders, but they're going to become powerful because they control the trade between the Fertile Crescent and India. The Persians came to power after the end of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. That's around 681 BCE, and then they're going to take over Egypt and Asia Minor, the remaining Hittites. That's a huge empire. The empire was at its height, at its greatest point, around 500 BCE, and they are eventually going to get conquered by Alexander the Great in 330 BCE. The Persians are the world's first major empire. Go to the next slide. One important effect of empires and civilization is that they are led by one person. And the Persians are no different. So let's look at 4 important leaders in the Persian Empire. The first leader is a religious man. His name is Zoroaster, and he is in Persia around 500 BCE. Zoroaster is a prophet, and he preaches a religion called Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism is a monotheistic religion. They pray to one God, and Zoroastrianism is the first time we see the concept of heaven and hell. You're going to die, and you're either going to go to a good place in heaven or a bad place in hell. Now we're going to look at 2 important emperors in the empire. Cyrus the Great, who's from 576 to 530 BCE, and Darius the Great, who's from 522 to 46 BCE. Cyrus comes first, Darius comes second. These are the 2 emperors who lead Persia at the height of the empire. They are the 2 emperors in charge when Persia is at its greatest. The last emperor you need to learn about is Xerxes the First. He's around from 46 to 465 BCE. He's the emperor from the movie The 300. He invades Greece, and he's going to lose to the Greeks in the Persian Wars. Go to the next slide. Now, an emperor can't really run an empire on his own. So we're going to have to create some things so that the emperor can control his empire. First, the empire is united by the Great Royal Road. This is a road system that connects all the major important places within the Persian Empire. And the emperor can use this road to send and receive messages throughout his empire in 7 days. Back in the ancient era, this is high-speed internet. The emperor can receive a message from the farthest parts of the empire in 7 days, and he can send his reply in 7 days. The road has an additional benefit. It carries trade routes. So not only can the emperor control his empire using the road, but the emperor is going to flourish because trade's going to move along the road. The Persians are also going to develop an imperial bureaucracy, and administrators are going to run the empire for the emperor. This is very much like the Empire in Star Wars. You've got the Emperor, and then you've got guys like Darth Vader who run the Empire for the Emperor. So we're going to divide the empire into administrative provinces, much like we divide a state into counties and cities, and the local people are going to run the empire for the emperor. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to develop a standard coinage. We're going to develop money, and that money will be accepted throughout the empire. Now we've created an empire that can be controlled by one person. Thank you for listening to this lecture, and I look forward to seeing you in class.